This is News Conference Extra with Conan Nolan.
Good morning and welcome to News Conference Extra, a special segment of Today in LA Weekend. Joining us from Washington is Kristen Welker, host of Meet the Press, which airs every Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. So, Kristen, it's Iowa. The first vote of the 2024 election. So you get the impression, we all know Donald Trump has a huge lead. Every poll has suggested that. It's an evangelical base of Republican voter out of the farm state of Iowa. So the question is, this is all about not just second place, but expectations. That if the former UN ambassador, Nikki Haley, is able to somehow surge into second place, that could give her the momentum to do something dramatic in New Hampshire. Do I have that right?
Well, Conan, it's so good to be with you. I think you've nailed it. I think all eyes are on that second place slot because former president has such a strong lead heading into Iowa. What will we see from Nikki Haley? Here's what we've seen strategically from her so far. We have seen her in recent days really sharpen her attacks against former President Trump. So has Governor Ron DeSantis, by the way. You have a lot of Republican strategists saying that's great, but why didn't they do this a little bit earlier when it could have had more of an impact? Haley's challenge, I think, is twofold. One, not just coming in second place, but coming in a strong second place, Conan. And then two, is she able to clean up quickly enough from this latest gaffe that she has had? She was asked about the Civil War. She didn't mention the word slavery when she talked about it. She has spent the past several days not just walking those comments back and saying, hey, I made a mistake, which she has done very clearly. But if you're explaining, you're typically on defense. Can she get back on offense in time to get herself into a strong second position? So I think you're right. The numbers will matter. How well does she actually do in Iowa? And does that give her some late momentum heading into New Hampshire? We will be watching it all very closely.
And considering the fact that the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, has spent so much time in Iowa and so much money in Iowa, that a third place finish would be devastating for him. Some have suggested he could even drop out if he doesn't place second.
That's right, and that's what we'll be watching for. Look, as you say, Governor DeSantis has spent a lot of money in Iowa. He's done the full Grassley, essentially visiting all 99 counties in the state. He has been bullish. He has said he's going to win Iowa. Our Dasha Burns had a chance to interview him this week along with the Des Moines Register, and Dasha pressed him, what other state can you win if you don't win Iowa? He said lots of other states. He didn't get specific, and I think it really underscores just how important Iowa will be to his overall strategy. If he comes in third, Conan, I think he's going to have to take a hard look at his campaign. There is no doubt about that. What is the justification to stay in? Will he do so? That is why Iowa is so significant.
Right. And for clarity, Donald Trump has an incredible lead. Even if he lost in New Hampshire, you then go to South Carolina, where he has a huge polling lead there, and it's Nikki Haley's home state. If she lost her home state, it's going to be tough for whoever it is. And of course, Chris Christie has been asked. He was asked on the Hugh Hewitt show the other day, the radio show, when are you going to drop out and endorse Nikki Haley? He got really upset at that. He still believes that he has a message, despite the fact it seems like he is, if anything, he's taking votes away from her.
You could, if you look at the numbers, come to that conclusion, because she's obviously appealing to those more moderate, more independent-minded Republican voters. And obviously, New Hampshire is a state where you don't have to be a Republican to vote in the primary. Chris Christie's making the argument, hey, I'm the only one directly taking on former President Trump. I am making a unique argument. But that has also made him the least popular candidate in the Republican field. And so the question becomes, just as Hugh Hewitt was asking, how long can he really justify staying in this race? I don't see Christie getting out before New Hampshire. That is his whole reason for being in this race. We'll have to see what type of a finish he has in New Hampshire. But if he doesn't have a strong finish there, it's going to be really hard for him to continue, I think, to justify staying in the race. But we'll have to wait and see how all of these candidates fare.
Who's on the program?
We have a jam-packed show. We're going to be talking to Congresswoman Elise Stefanik ironic. Of course, she was at the center of that congressional hearing where she pressed the presidents of elite universities on their response to anti-Semitism. Now, two of those presidents have resigned. What are her next steps? How does she respond to allegations of hypocrisy that she speaks out against anti-Semitism when it is against someone that she wants to be going after? Then we will also be talking to Quentin Fulks. He's a top advisor in the Biden campaign. We'll be talking about President Biden's campaign strategy, the jitters within the Democratic Party about his reelection, particularly when they look at some of those polls in key battleground states which show the current commander-in-chief trailing to former President Trump. And then finally, we will be talking to Israel's President Herzog about the latest developments in Israel, and of course, Secretary of State Antony Blinken in the region this week, pressing the Israelis not just to come up with a stronger plan to mitigate civilian casualties, but sending a message to the entire region to de-escalate the tensions on the heels of a number of attacks in various different countries around the region. So a lot on the Secretary of State's agenda, and we will be talking to the President of Israel about all of it. Conan.
Kristen Welker, host of Meet the Press, 8 o'clock Sunday morning. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Following Meet the Press on NBC4's news conference, we'll be talking with some students from California universities who are in Israel currently, a program designed to, in the fight for the hearts and minds of college students, tell the Israeli side over what is happening in Gaza. Plus, the Assembly Minority Leader speaks about the $68 billion budget deficit facing the California legislature, their agenda going forward. And we talked to the president of the California Science Center, a jewel in the crown of Southern California, facing one of the most consequential months in the history of that institution. That's News Conference at 9 following Meet the Press. We'll see you then.